Auburn's trip to Missouri is crucial, and my guy has a bold prediction that all Auburn fans are going to love to hear.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We are dapping it up with the Darrell Montgomery radio legend on today's show. The Auburn basketball team already getting disrespect. We'll talk about that later in the show, as well as give our Auburn and Missouri official predictions. But let's start some things off. Saturday's a big game. We got some bold predictions.
Yeah, let me go off script a little bit, and I hate to interrupt you or cut you off, but
yes,
I'm a little bit fired up about this. There's a lot of things on this show that has got the blood pumping, good and bad, right out of the gate. I feel, and I'm going to go ahead and put it out there so that when it doesn't happen, people can keep receipts, people can come at me. That's good. I am predicting that Auburn goes 4-2 in its last 6 games and goes to a bowl game. And, oh, by the way, is playing as good as a lot of teams in the SEC that national commentators, national pundits, national analysts will make the following statement. Man, it's a good thing you played Auburn early in the season. They're playing as good as anybody in the country right now. Get ready to hear those words. It's coming. They're close. I feel it. Like Phil Collins says, baby, I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Yeah. I love it. I love this energy on a Friday edition of the show. So 4-2, you got to think ULM is one of those. You got to think Vandy at home is one of those. If you're making that, is it the rest of this road trip? Is it Missouri and Kentucky?
And
then
my Missouri predictions, it'll be very obvious the path and how they get there. Now, the boldness of me proclaiming that is because I feel like what's going to happen Saturday, if that doesn't happen, at that point on Sunday, my boldness goes out the window. Just being honest. But part of the bold prediction includes what I think is going to happen Saturday.
Yeah.
There is no rhyme or reason. There is no quantitative evidence. There's nothing that Auburn's done to this point in the season that gives me the right to make this prediction other than I just feel like this team's close. I feel like the bye week's going to be what it needs to be, and they're going to come out of this bye week and play better football, get things cleaned up. And I think the schedule and the opponents down the stretch are going to help Auburn. I just do.
I think all 6 teams left on the schedule are gettable. I think all 6 of them are. And I think in a vacuum, when you look at each individual matchup based on what Auburn has done when they've had it all together, 90%, maybe more percent of the Oklahoma game, to me, I could see it happening, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen. And to me, I'm not ready to do that, but if Auburn does go on a tear, I don't think it would shock me. But if I had to bet, do they go worse than 4-2 down the stretch? I would say yes. But can Auburn line up and run the football on Missouri? Yes, I think they can. Can they slow Kentucky down and make that an ugly game 2 weeks from now where Auburn squeaks out a 17-10 win in Lexington? Sure, I think they can. And then after that, they're going to really believe in themselves. And, I think they're going to be kind of feared as one of the hotter teams in the SEC. If they could pull those 2 things off, they've just got to do it first, Darrell, obviously.
It's a great point. And my point, I was on a talk show earlier in the week, and I said, you got to get that first one.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be that first time for everything. You've got to get that first taste, that first game where you finally finish. I believe that the way Auburn is constructed right now and the DNA of this football team and the bad luck they have had, once they get that first one, once they get over the hump and finally close, that is going to propel them and springboard them the rest of the season. If they don't ever get that first one and they keep struggling, obviously it goes without saying. But I think this team is going to be so much different if they finally close and get that taste. And that's going to completely change, in my opinion, the trajectory of their season once they get one under their belt.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if they get one under their belt. This one seems to be the way it's positioned after the bye week, the way Missouri has a number next to their name, and like what it could signify and represent. I love the timing of it on the schedule. And once again, like I don't think Missouri is a great football team. I think in a vacuum, like I probably like Oklahoma's situation better. Now, granted, Oklahoma didn't have a lot of players available when they played Auburn earlier this year, and it was at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Obviously, they're playing on the road this weekend, but they've shown that they can go toe-to-toe with solid football teams. They just haven't been able to close. They haven't been able to finish. I mean, I want the listener out there, I want you to put yourself in the situation, the mindset of somebody in this locker room where they have worked their tail off all spring, all summer. There's been so much shakeup of the roster. And this team really believed that they could prove some people wrong. And just time and time again, they've fallen flat. I mean, mentally and emotionally, that's a tough place to be for a student athlete. It is. And I love that you highlighted, you got to get the first one. You got to get that first domino to fall. And I do think I'm with you. If they win on Saturday, I've kind of already said my predictions before, but so like I am picking Missouri. But if Auburn wins on Saturday, I think it could ignite something to where Auburn could win several in a row leading up to Texas A&M at home, and then say, hey, watch out for those Auburn Tigers.
I know this sounds crazy, but I've watched a lot of college football and I've seen a lot of seasons that start out this way.
Yeah.
They don't seem to me to be a demoralized football team.
Not yet.
Now, I get it. They could be saying all the right things, but no one's jumping in the portal. No one's redshirting. They have this feeling of frustration and not being demoralized. There's a difference. Not losing the locker room, not being, absolutely feeling like the season is done. They're frustrated, I think, because they can taste it and they feel like they're close.
Right.
They're not looking at this season and going, realistically, it's done, it's over. They don't look like they are, like I said, like they are absolutely demoralized. They don't look that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. The recruits are still coming. Recruits are still committing. No one's leaving. Something is there in the elixir and the formula that they're drinking that's saying we can still do this. And there has to be a reason why they're believing that I can't put my finger on because I'm not in that locker room, but they haven't lost the team or the locker room.
All right. My bold prediction goes a different route. We'll touch on what exactly that means for Saturday, as well as our official predictions. That's coming up right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Hims. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Darrell talked about a magical elixir. I mean, that Hims. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Start your free online visit at hims.com/lockedon. That is HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products, which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Darrell Dapprich. My bold prediction is I think Jarquez Hunter and Keandre Lambert-Smith, I think the two of them have a tremendous game this Saturday, and I'll predict that between the two of them, they're going to be responsible for 3 touchdowns on Saturday when Auburn heads to Columbia to take on Missouri.
Well, that's a good one, and I'm telling you, that happens. That gets them close to where I think they need to be on the score sheet to win this game. I think there'll be some special teams thrown in there, but I could see that. I think Jarquez is going to be a focal point when the coaching staff took the week off, bye week, and reevaluated. Hugh Freeze said it in a press conference. You're going to see him get more touches, and I think that'll lead to more scoring opportunities.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And I don't think he needs a ton more touches. I just think he needs touches on important downs, and those are in third and manageable situations, fourth and short situations, and where else? Oh, yeah, in the red zone. When Auburn has a chance to score and take an opportunity to score 7 instead of a chance at 3, I want to see Jarquez Hunter running the football over and over and over again. I also want to see Auburn stretch the field. And sure, there are other guys that are able to do it. Malcolm Simmons, Perry Thompson, Cam Coleman. I just think this is a KLS game. We've seen him have a few of these moments, but a lot of them have been like specific plays or specific drives. I'm saying this is a KLS game where he's a big part of the offense. I think the bye week where they say, okay, KLS is going to be a big part of this. Cam Coleman isn't quite as far along as we thought he would be. And so we're still going to use him, obviously, but like KLS is exactly what we need in the passing game. I think he's going to benefit from the time off a week ago. So you've got Auburn going 4-2 down the stretch as a bold prediction, making a bowl game. And I've got Jarquez Hunter and KLS as a tandem being responsible for 3 touchdowns for Auburn against Missouri on Saturday. Drop your bold prediction down below. Very interested to hear what people have to say. And it can be about Saturday or it can be about the rest of the season. Darrell, I did a crossover show with John Miller of Locked On Mizzou yesterday. Be sure to check that out if you missed it. But I think my pick was 34-27. And so that's what I'll go with. 34-27 in favor of Missouri, unfortunately.
I got Auburn winning 29-26.
29.
I do.
Just predicting a weird game. Weird scoring game. Yeah.
Something happening here. Missed extra point, 2-point conversion, something safety, something kind of goofy.
Okay.
I just 29-26 is what I've had. Just kind of, I have been right.
Got Auburn winning.
Got Auburn winning 29-26.
What's the storyline from the Auburn point of view if Auburn does pull this off?
Jarquez goes for about 140.
Yeah.
22 carries, 140 yards, a touchdown or 2, and Peyton Thorne plays efficient.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Football where he uses his legs to get some big gains too. Yep.
I want to see that. I don't think Jarquez gets 20 touches.
I told you this before. If they don't, then someone needs to open up an investigation in the Auburn football. I mean, I don't understand the thought process of he's fresh. He's even fresher coming off a bye week, and he's your best offensive weapon. Mm-hmm. Put a saddle on him and let's go. I mean, I don't. If you want to win the game, go play to your strengths. And I don't care about percentages. And he's got the same amount of percentages of touches than some. That doesn't faze me. Give him more. He needs a higher percentage of some of the other feature backs because that's Auburn's strength right now.
Yeah,
and that's their best chance to win.
Missouri's. They're pretty good at getting off the field, if I understand correctly. And so run the ball, give yourself an opportunity on third down. This team has not done that consistently. And if you're going to help out your defense, which to me, I think this is going to come down to not Auburn's offense, but Auburn's defense. Can Auburn's defense do enough to stop Missouri? Because Missouri's offense has been kind of hit and miss depending on the matchup. To me, I think that's the more important thing. And I mean, granted, it's been the Auburn offense that's been frustrating, and so that's what we're going to talk about. But to me, I actually think the Auburn offense is going to be okay. It's the defense, and hence, I'm predicting 34 points by Missouri. I want to see this defense punch Missouri in the mouth and do it early and take take the running game out, make Brady Cook one-dimensional. Let's see what happens. Can these young corners and young defensive backs shut down this pretty talented wide receiver tandem with Burton and Theo Weiss? That's going to be huge. And I don't love, I love Kayan Lee and Jay Crawford. I love them both, and I love the future of what they represent at Auburn. I don't love this matchup on Saturday.
Well, if you don't get pressure on Cook and you don't hit him and get multiple sacks, those two receivers are going to kill you. They're going to eat. I do believe that Auburn needs to make Cook uncomfortable and throw the ball earlier in his progressions than he wants to by providing pressure. I'd love to see it like a strip sack fumble. Mm-hmm. Auburn's gonna have defensively to get some stinking turnovers. They've just been so. I get what the offense has done in turning it over, but the defense hasn't been great either getting turnovers. And Auburn needs to do that. And I think the safeties have an opportunity. Caleb Harris, Thompson, they could be some ball hawks. But has Auburn even caused a fumble this year? I can't recall it. I'm old, but I can't remember the time Auburn caused a fumble and recovered. I know they've had a couple interceptions.
Yeah, but the turnovers aspect of both sides of the football have not been good. They've not been good,
and that's got to change. I think Auburn's going to have to be disruptive and get some Saturday to have a chance.
That'd be huge. And to me, that's Keldrick Falk. Go find a way. Go find a way. You're the best player on this team most of the snaps. Go get it done. You don't need to wait your turn anymore. I know there's this whole thing of veteran leadership and all that. Screw that. This is your team. This is your defense. Go take it. Go take it at this point. All right. Auburn basketball disrespected yesterday. Disrespected. Let's jump into just the absurdity of it in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Right now, you can bet $5, Darrell. You get $200 back. $200 back in bonus bets. Guaranteed. Auburn, a 4.5-point underdog on the road. They get started at 6.5. We're down to 4.5. Maybe it gets to 3.5 by kickoff. We'll see. But if you're listening to Darrell, take Auburn plus 4.5, or heck, take the money line. The money line at the time of recording is plus 142 for Auburn. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Once again, you can get $200 in bonus bets. Just make that first $5 bet over at FanDuel.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. All right, Darrell. So yesterday, Matt Norlander of CBS Sports put out his annual preseason rankings, or to use his term, mega rankings. Pretty cool. He ranked the top 101 basketball teams in the country. And I click on it, and I'm scrolling, and I'm scrolling, and I'm scrolling. I get through the top 15. I'm like, okay, if you don't want to put Auburn top 10, that's fine. A lot of questions. I get it. Get to the first 20. I'm like, what are we doing? 27. 27. It doesn't make sense to me.
It does make sense. It totally makes sense.
Okay.
Because it speaks to his credibility, his intentions, what's important to him, and his engagement, farming, reputation, what he's done in the past. So here's the deal, okay? I don't have a problem with a guy picking Auburn lower than the rest of what the fans think. Okay, as fans, sometimes it's skewed. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with somebody thinking that Auburn's not as great as Auburn fans do, or as SEC coaches do, or by the way, AP does, or Ken Pomeroy, who knows ball and it doesn't have a clown nose and clown shoes like Norlander does.
Well, the whole thing about Ken Pom is it takes the bias out. It's
absolutely, and that's why this is about Norlander, not Auburn. It's about bias and intent to get engagement and to be edgy and get interaction. And here's why I say this: it's gonna sound like, oh, Auburn homers. No, my friend. The reason why this is about Norlander more than Auburn, and it's bigger than Auburn, is because he's got Iowa State 21, and Iowa State is 5th in the AP poll. So Iowa State and Auburn fans are really, really in concert the last couple of days. Boy, they're really close. That goes to show you that he likes the controversy. So here's the deal. If you did research and you had legitimate reasons for saying, I just don't think they're a top 15 team. Okay. Yeah. If you put Auburn 20th, I don't even have a problem with that. Keep them in the top 20.
That's whatever. Sure.
Let me give you the reason this clown said he thinks Auburn's 27. This is like closing your eyes and throwing a dart or throwing something to the wall and trying to make it stick.
Sure.
All right. He says every year there are a few teams ranked in the preseason that prove to be overshots. And I'll take a chance. Auburn applies here. Now, first of all, this word he uses in this next sentence should be all you need to know about his credibility, because anybody that uses the word tut-tutting shouldn't even write for college basketball publication. Tut-tutting? Okay. What is that? He's been writing 14 years for CBS Sports, and tut-tutting is a word in his vocabulary. He said, they're going to follow me well into the season, Auburn fans are, and I've accepted it. He's welcoming that. He's reveling in that. He's baiting that. That tells you all you need to know. It's a troll. And then here's what he says. Here's his scientific, detailed research, knowing basketball, doing some really a deep dive reasons why. For reasons hard to foresee, some teams just take steps back. That's it. No reason. There's nothing. There's not. Here's why they'll take a step back. Here's why they lost to Yale. So I think nothing. He only says this. He praises J.P. Pegues. He praises Janai Broome. He praises Denver Jones. He talks about the core that comes back is one of the best in the country. And then he says some guy named Evan Maya, which is right there with tut-tuttering. I don't know. These two must go together. Ranks this class 70th in the country and second worst in the SEC, the transfer class. Why does that even matter when you have some of the best core in the country coming back? You don't need a high ranking portal class when you've got 4, 5, 6 studs already returning. And oh, by the way, a 5-star point guard and one of the most athletic wings in the country. Who gives a crap about where your portal class is ranked when you only got 2 dudes? And let's be honest, Pegues was ranked really high. What's dragging that down, and I love the kid, is Jaheim Hudson. So he doesn't even understand the depth and the versatility of this roster. All I ask, if someone wants to make a stupid, asinine prediction like this, is do a little research. Ask questions. Investigate. To base it upon teams just take a step back. I don't know why they do, but they just do. And I'm going to think it's going to be Auburn. Why, Maddie? Maddie, baby, what's the reason? Oh, they've got the 70th ranked portal class, but they have the best player in the SEC.
I want to hang on the portal class just for a second. Do you think other teams were trying to get in touch with Janai Broome?
Absolutely. In fact, I know they were.
Do you think other teams were interested in, say, Dylan Cardwell?
They were, and I know that somebody came at Chad Baker-Mazara pretty quick before the portal closed too.
Chad Baker-Mazara. You think if Denver Jones would have entered the portal again, you think he would have gotten a lot of calls?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost like he did like the previous offseason.
How about Miles Kelly? Oh, I just thought about that. Wait a minute. I left out Miles Kelly in my transfer portal rankings.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Is this guy high? Miles Kelly was one of the most coveted transfer portal players in the country.
Yes.
Chose Auburn over higher NIL money.
Yes. The whole when you have guys returning and you want to quote transfer portal rankings, it's like you got to credit for maintaining what you've got, or it's irrelevant. Like that's, or you just have a general misunderstanding of how roster management works now in college basketball.
Hello, exactly. Because that's when you're closing your eyes and throwing a dart at a dartboard and guessing and trying to make this sexy and edgy because you don't have a viable, reliable, actual reason.
Auburn holding on to Janai Broome was one of the biggest wins all offseason in all of college basketball. And to just brush over that, and in the article, he ties like Janai Broome's relevance so he can like go up against Mark Spears of Bama. And it's like, what are we doing?
No, he gives Alabama all this credit for Sears and retaining him and the other guy that came from, I can't remember, the big
but
forward.
But not holding on to Janai Broome.
And I'm going to tell you something. Again, Pegues and Kelly were very, very highly sought after. So
it's just whatever.
This is an example of, again, engagement farming. Arkansas, he did it with Arkansas last year. Yeah, he was right.
Because then, also just if the main point that you list is a bad transfer portal class, like if you truly believe that, they should be worse than 27th in your rankings.
True. And let me say this. He says this. This is how you know he's not a knower of ball. And oh, by the way, Auburn's non-conference schedule is rough. So they're going to lose some games. Guess what, Maddie? It ain't going to matter. If Auburn splits with that non-conference schedule, all the metrics are going to still have Auburn as a top 15 basketball team.
Quad one losses do not hurt you.
No,
they don't hurt you.
I mean, has he been covering cricket to this? What sport has he covered? What's he been tut-tuttering around? Who uses that word? I'm still trying to get over tut-tuttering.
I don't really know what that means.
I don't either.
Being honest.
I mean,
I got a little nervous when you said it. It's like, are we allowed to say that? I don't know. I don't know. He's
feeling the wrath right now. Jesse Newell, who used to rank Auburn lower in the polls, had the best tweet of the day, and he said, "Godspeed, brother," and he did a cartoon, a meme about how the Auburn fans are to come out because he knows. So
it's a force that is relentless.
Yeah.
All right. How can people check out everything you've got going on, Dap?
Follow me on X, Dap6410, Instagram, Darrell Dap, Wednesdays and Fridays with you. And then, of course, the reaction shows that we drop Sunday morning, but we do a live show when Auburn's on the road.
Yep.
So we can go live.
Yep. And I'm going to try to join the live show, but you and Lindsay are expected to hold down the fort going live right after Missouri. I'm going to try to join from my phone. I'll be out and about, but very excited to see you guys in that role. It's going to be fun. And if I'm not there, then of course you and I will be back Sunday morning. So, hey, please like the video, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. And if you're listening on audio, make sure you're subscribed. Please leave a review. Helps the show out a ton. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.